name is Claudia, and today we're going to talk about the movements of the spine. Usually when we're in our daily lives, we're really not paying attention how we feel. And we're always reaching forward, and the way when reaching forward, we're always rounding, and when we're working on our desk, we're either very slump or very erect. But this is a very uncomfortable way to work. So we're going to find ways in our body that we can relax. So right now we're going to invite you to come into a hands and knee pose. Bring your hands right under your shoulders, knees under the hips. And as you inhale, you're going to curve your back, drop the belly, lift the chin and chest. And on the exhale, we're going to round the spine towards the ceiling. You're drawing the tailbone down. You're slightly engaging your abs, so your bottom abs are lifted. Slowly, we're going to articulate the spine by lifting the tailbone, lifting the chin and chest. And on the exhale, keeping the arms straight, just drawing and moving from the hips all the way up and dropping the head forward. This we call the cat-cow movement. So when we drop the belly and we lift the chin and chest, this we call the cow. And then we round the spine, press into the hands, press into the knees, and curve the back. We call this the howling cat. But those movements are done only to preserve the movement of the spine, the anterior and the posterior part of our spine. When we come back into the tabletop position, we notice that the back is nice and straight. You can extend one leg to the space behind you, and then the other for the top of your plank. So when we're sagging the belly down and we're shrinking the shoulders, we're not using the strength of our core. So picking up the hips, lifting up the knees, engaging the core, we have a plank position that is nice and healthy, but we're working a lot of the arms, so holding up the belly. Now lower into the knees. I'm going to shift all the way to the a different way of moving the spine, and it would be lateral. So we take one hand down, and then the other arm comes all the way to that side. Now this we don't do daily because we don't reach this way normally. So it's a healthy stretch and a healthy stress. Shrink it back down and take the other side. Lifting that other arm over the hips and just trying to anchor the hips on the floor and reach from the seat all the way to the fingertips. You notice how we relax the shoulders. So let's do this again. Drop the hand down to the floor. Reach out to the other hand. Soften through the left arm. And then reach nice and long through the right arm. So close your eyes and feel that how when you're reaching, you're not leaning and lifting the hip. You are anchoring the hip, lifting to the fingertips. So nice stretch there. Let's take it over to the other side. So left arm picks up, right arm relaxes, and reach as you press your sit bones, both of your sit bones on the floor. And you breathe every time. So you find that when you have tension in your back, the normal thing to do is to hold your breath. But if you can imagine sending space to that side of your body, you're in a better place. Take it all the way back down. I'm going to switch to the right. So left arm comes to the right. And this is a spiral of the torso. So we're moving the spine in two different directions. So the hips are going to stay in one direction and the torso is moving towards the right side. So Open up, find yourself nice and lifted, as if you're lifted with a balloon on the crown of your head. And then spiral your left shoulder towards the right corner of your mat. Again, we're engaging the belly in and back. And we're finding whatever sensation that comes in the space, and connecting to whatever that is. So your body is a temple. So try like such. Take it back to center, come back into the neutral space, and then twisting to the left side. So right hand comes to the left knee, and the left hand goes behind you. So coil the heart forward, find a little more lift, and see if you can actually use the belly to turn yourself back a little more, just like a tourniquet. Hold that position. And back to center and neutral. So another position that you can do, the cat-cow, is in the seated pose. So you roll the back behind you, tuck the belly and the tailbone, and then chest comes forward and in through the arms. Slowly come back. Inhaling as you lift up. Exhale as you turn back all the way to neutral. One other direction that we also haven't talked about is the way the head moves. The neck in Chinese medicine, and the neck is always spoken as the gateway to your thoughts. So if your neck is stiff, you're going to be limited in your mind. So try to move the rotation towards the right and just follow your gaze. Come back all the way to neutral and all the way to the other side. You want to almost like find the direction, find the peripheral vision just right behind you, whatever it is that you're stopping to the side. Your gaze is towards the left side, but your vision is all the way behind you. Come back all the way to neutral, and now drop the chin towards the chest, extend the back of your neck. And slowly lift your nose towards the ceiling and drop the head back. Come back all the way to neutral. Another way that we can actually work the spine is not only seating and hands and knees, but also in child's pose variation. So we can twist the spine in different directions. One way of doing it is coming to hands and knees, shifting the weight of the hips towards the heels and reaching the hands forward. As you inhale, lift, extend, and lower your forehead all the way to the ground, and see if you can actually drop your seat over the heels. So a lot of people stay up here, and that's okay because they have tight back and tight psoas. But if you come to that direction, then just spin that right arm underneath and then lower to the ground, that shoulder to the ground, and use the shoulder, the weight of your body, to stress or to find the healthy stress in your body when you cross. So pressing the shoulder down. So that is going to pull from the midline, from your lats, all the way out to the shoulder, the top of your shoulders. So notice what feels good. What is the intention of being in this pose is to really spiral the back. And let's take the other side. So release the hand all the way forward and just sit back so that you can feel the sensations that you created in that right shoulder. So now we're going to thread the needle. We call this thread the needle. That left shoulder comes underneath. So you drop the ear down. You can take that right arm overhead and just shift the weight of your hips back. So notice that in this position, my seat is not all over the heel. Continue to breathe in and pressing that shoulder down, and feel as your shoulder blades opening up out when you're crossing. So they're pulling from the midline out to the side. Next breath takes us back all the way to center and dropping the seat back down. This is a very, very nice and comfortable position once you can get there. So notice if you need any assistance, you can actually roll a towel under your knees and try it under the knee, or you can just stay up. You can sit on a bolster too, or even lift the floor by putting a bolster right underneath, a folded blanket or several folded blankets like a beach towel too. And just drop the seat there. So the hands are an incredible position here, and it's kind of like the measurement for your downward facing dog. So shifting the weight of your torso forward, tucking the toes under, lifting the knees off the ground, lifting the seat up high. So this will not only create a stretch of your back, but it's going to create a stretch of the back of the legs. And as you tilt your pelvis forward, you're going to feel that sensation of the back of your, not only your legs, but also your calves. And one day, eventually, we'll lower the heels a little more. But so prevent dipping the chest, just keep the belly flowing, lifting toward the spine so that we can protect that spine. Another position you may actually enjoy is called the pigeon pose, or in yin yoga we call it the swan. So we can step that bent right knee towards that wrist, to that right wrist. And if this is a pose that your back is tight, you can actually bring a block right under the hip so that you can surrender there. If this is not necessary for your body today, you can just bring the hip down and then lower to the elbows. Once you are there and you sat here for maybe 3 minutes, if you can hold this pose in 3 minutes, it'd be incredible. You can also extend the time and just bring it to 5 minutes and just rest your forehead over a block. You sit here, you feel the intention that of this pose is to stress the sciatic space, so that right thigh is going to float slightly off the ground, but it's going to descend eventually. And the more you do it, the better it gets. We're going to take the other side. So how do we move to the other side? You can either bring the hands down underneath your shoulders, tuck the back toes, step back to downward facing dog one more time, and just waking up the back of the legs and tilting the hips up just for a little more juice, or marinating that back of the back spine, keeping the head in line with your ear, with your elbows, and lowering there. So bend that left knee, shift the gaze forward, and take that left knee to the left wrist as you walk back your right leg straight right behind you. Again, one side does not feel the same as the other, so be attentive of whatever sensations come up. Lower to the elbows. Either parallel arms, like you can even be reading a magazine here, or doing your homework, or even typing in your computer. When you sit here on the floor, just feel that stretch. The difference between stress and stretch is that stress is what we put into our muscles to elongate the muscles that are constricted, that are restricted. So it's what we get from stress is the stretch. And eventually you may be able to surrender all the way down. And breathe. Allow your body just to surrender, feeling all these sensations as the floor is really supporting you. And take your hands outside your shoulders to come up. Press into your arms straight. And then tuck the back heel under and just shift back to downward facing dog. And slowly look forward back to your seat. And just take a notice of how is that you're feeling. Another way, many other ways to find another sensation would be on your back. So you come to your back, bring the knees into your chest, and you hug your knees a lot. So keep your seat nice and low. And then slowly open your arms to a T. Let the palms of your hands go down. And then shift the weight of your hips to one side. The longer the distance between your knees and your shoulders, the less tension you'll find. You can bring your knees up a lot and just hold your knees together. And you can add another element to this pose by shifting the weight of your gaze towards the left side. You come back all the way to center and shift the hips to the right and bring your knees to the left. Come back all the way to center. Hug your knees back up. Extend to the back of your neck. Lower your feet to the floor. Bring your feet about hips distance, maybe mat's distance, whatever feels comfortable in your body. And windshield wipe the legs to one side. Notice where you are. And then the other side. So make it nice and soft so you can see how your back feels. Come back all the way up. And it's slow rather than fast. Come back to the other side now. And slowly shift the weight of your feet a little bit more closer to the seat, the heels towards the seat, and begin to press your hips up to a very small back bend. So you can interlace your hands underneath. If this is not accessible, you can support yourself with your hands. And if you have a bolster, you can also use the bolster underneath you and you can descend. Blocks are also very nice because you can stick them underneath in the back. And you can let go of the legs and relax. So this will open up the front of the hips. So that's another way that you can find joy in your life. When the hips are tight, we move differently. When we have a supple hips, things are a lot better. We feel better. Slowly walk the feet back towards the hips. Lift the seat to remove the block and then lower the back onto the mat.